Deadlifting is is valuable, but you have a narrow operating window in which you can potentially hurt yourself.
It's interesting when we have a back pain 50-year-old coming here and I'll say, what are your goals? Oh, I want to set a personal best in deadlift. Would you rather, as your goal, have the ability to play with your grandchildren on the floor when you're 80 and get off the floor and pick them up? And they pause for a minute and they'll say, yeah, I like that goal. I said, well, you can't have both. If you think you're going to continue having deadlift personal bests, you will not, you will have artificial hips. I took them out and we went for a 10-minute walk to a hill that we have. And I'll say, here's why you're not going to do deadlifts, but here's what I want you to do. I showed them a monster walk. Okay, monster walk. Now we're going to the bottom of the hill and I want you to lean back into the hill and we're walking backwards. You're going to align your foot, ankle, knee, and hip and push through the knee, through the knee, through the knee, backwards up the hill. Do you know, after 30 meters, they were absolutely done. Here they are doing all this deadlifting and they don't even have the leg strength, endurance to walk backwards 30 meters. And I convinced that person after that what they're going to do and train now to get a well-rounded and sustainable athleticism that will spare their joints, still have great training capacity.
Okay, so I thought this was really interesting because I kind of agree and disagree at the same time. I think the goal should always be proficiency in the movement pattern first, before making heavy lifting the main focus. Now, playing with your grandkids versus hitting a PR on a deadlift, I don't think one goal is inherently better than the other. It really depends on the person. Some people may care about chasing a big deadlift, and that's fine. Also, that monster walk exercise that he mentions at the end, sure, it works some of the similar muscle groups, but it's not the same movement pattern. And whether you realize it or not, you deadlift multiple times a day, every time you pick something up off the floor. So yeah, it's a movement that's worth practicing. So the bottom line is build an optimal movement pattern first, but also don't be afraid to push the weight up if that's your goal. That being said, unless you're a pro athlete, I actually agree with the well-rounded, sustainable athleticism part, which means your training in the weight room should look a lot like the physical demands of your everyday life.